if you have a car in your garage today, I want you to do a mental exercise with me. Imagine that every January 1st, the government knocks on your door and says, "Congratulations for working hard, saving up, and buying your car. Now pay me several minimum wages in fees, just so you have the right to keep it in your garage." It would be absurd, but this is real, and it's called the IPVA. This video was suggested by our dear brother who's new here, Albert BG. A big hug to our brother. And here's his suggestion, because this channel is built on all of us pulling together. If I told you, my dear and noble brother, that while you pay 3 to 4% of your car's total value every single year in Brazil just to hit potholes and ruin your suspension, a lot of people, by the way, get screwed by this. I don't want to spend money on my old car anymore. I'll buy a new one with a warranty. But you forget that a car doesn't break down just because of a defect. But with the terrible roads we have, a lot of people finance a BMW, suddenly hit a pothole and don't have the money to fix the suspension, which is actually really expensive. That's the reality of this country. There's no way to escape it. In countries neighboring Brazil, this tax is cheaper than a pizza with soda. Do you think it's absurd? And what if I prove to you that in the United States and in Peru, the annual tax either disappears or drops drastically after a while Brazilians are literally forced to pay rent to the state until the car turns into scrap? In today's video, we're going to take a look at the vehicle tax systems in Brazil, the United States, Paraguay, and Peru. I'm going to show you in detail how each one works, and at the end, we're going to open the black box. Why does Brazil charge so much, and where does this money really go? Get ready, my friends, because what you're about to see today will leave you shocked and outraged. Go ahead and leave that like so you don't forget. Grab some toasted bread with cheese and meat, and let's start our segment. Ladies and gentlemen of the world, to understand the difference, we first need to look at our own backyard. What is the IPVA? It's the tax on motor vehicle ownership. It's a state tax, and the first big catch starts with the way it's calculated. In Brazil, the calculation basis is the market value of the car, usually determined by the famous FIP table. The rates vary from state to state. In São Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, and Minas Gerais, it's 4%. In other states, it ranges between 2% and 3%. Let's do a quick, painful calculation for those of you who still haven't gotten it yet. If you have a mid-size SUV or a used car that's worth 100,000 reais today, which, let's be honest, has become the price of any basic car nowadays. The 4% rate in São Paulo means 4,000 reais just in IPVA every year based on that amount. The rate is 4%, which would be 4,000 reais if your car is worth 100,000 reais, just to have the car sitting in your garage in IPVA alone. 4,000 reais just to own the car. Add the licensing fee, add the mandatory insurance if it comes back. In other words, you pay about 350 reais a month to the government for the privilege of parking your own car in your own garage. And here's the biggest slap in the face to the Brazilian taxpayer. There is no legal requirement for IPVA revenue to be used for paving or road improvements, even if it is collected for that purpose. Half of what is collected goes to the state's general fund, and the other half goes to the municipality where the car was registered. They can spend it on public employee salaries, advertising, municipal festivals, as happened here in my city, which is known as the capital of Foro, who just decided to hire none other than Roberto Carlos for a June festival. All of that, my brother, was paid by you, by me, by all of us. They can spend on that, or worse, anything else that our big shots feel like. Because that's what they are to me. The car never stops paying unless it reaches a certain age that varies from 10 to 20 years depending on the state. Until then, you're a hostage to the annual bill. Now let's cross the continent. How does it work in the United States? First detail, there is nothing there like Brazil's IPVA. In the United States, the system works based on a registration fee, an annual registration tax, and in some states, there is a property tax or, specifically, the wheel tax. But the difference in tax philosophy is huge. First, the tax in the United States is focused on weight or utility. Many American states charge an annual registration fee simply based on the weight of the vehicle, or a fixed fee, like in Kentucky, where the standard fee is ridiculously low, about $21 per year. They know the vehicle wears down roads due to its weight, not its luxury. Actual depreciation. In states that charge the tax based on the value of the car, like the state of Colorado, the rate drops drastically as the vehicle gets older. In the car's first year, the tax can be 2.1% on the taxable value. In the fourth year, it drops to 0.9%. From the fifth to the ninth year, it plummets to 0.45% of the value. And from the 10th year on, Davey, well, it becomes a symbolic fee of just $3. In other words, Americans buy a car, and the tax decreases as the car loses its market value. The American state doesn't punish you for keeping an old car well maintained. It acknowledges that the asset has depreciated. Meanwhile, Brazilians watch their used cars officially increase in value on the FIPE table and bizarrely end up paying more IPVA for older cars. Now we're leaving the United States and heading straight to Paraguay, a neighboring country that has become a paradise for Brazilians who want to escape tax abuse. Paraguay. If you think that in Brazil the vehicle tax is expensive because building roads is costly, as the government says, Paraguay destroys that argument. There, the equivalent of the vehicle tax is called Patente de Rodados. The Patente de Rodados is a tax charged at the municipal level, and the standard rate is only 0.5% per year on the import value or the vehicle's appraisal. And here's the detail. This amount increases by 5% each year as the car gets older. Let's look at the real numbers behind this tax humiliation. An upper middle class car in Brazil, like a new Toyota Corolla costing 150,000 reais, pays about 6,000 reais in IPVA per year. And that same car, with the same engine, in Paraguay, our dear neighbor across the border. Hold on to your chair or wherever you are so you don't fall. The owner will pay, for that same car, an annual license fee equivalent to about 350 to 400 reais at most. You didn't read that wrong. That's a difference of almost 20 times less. In Paraguay, the annual vehicle tax is so cheap compared to the average salary that the worker only needs a few days of work to pay it off. While Brazilians have to commit months of hard work or pay it in several installments, losing sleep over it. If you thought Paraguay was amazing, wait until you see what Peru does. This might be the biggest tax secret in Latin America for us Brazilians. In Peru, there is a tax on vehicle ownership. Tax on vehicle ownership. The rate is 1% per year on the purchase value of the car. So far, so good. 1% is cheaper than the 4% in Brazil. But the genius of the Peruvian system lies in a detail that should be copied worldwide. You only pay this tax for the first 3 years of the vehicle's life. That's right. Bought a brand new car, you will pay 1% in tax in the first year, the second, and the third year after the car is registered. From the fourth year on, the tax simply no longer exists for that vehicle. Zero. Nothing. You only pay the regular vehicle inspection and local circulation fees, which are very cheap. Their logic is fair. The tax is meant to compensate for the impact of a new vehicle entering the system. But the Peruvian state recognizes that charging taxes forever on private property that only loses value is an assault on the citizen's pocketbook. In Peru, after 3 years, the car is truly yours, free from paying rent to the state. I'm going to show you the image of the table so you can see the size of our daily loss. This table I'm showing you is so you can see the size of the loss that every Brazilian suffers every year. The inevitable question that comes to anyone's mind is, why is Brazil such a tax anomaly? What's the excuse for us being so severely punished just for having a means of transportation? The short and painful answer is, Brazil's annual vehicle property tax is expensive solely because of the government and its policy of high taxes to cover uncontrolled expenses. That's the plain and simple truth. Unlike countries that use consumption or property taxes in a balanced way to stimulate the economy, Brazil inflates the tax burden across the board. We pay abusive taxes when buying a car, with embedded fees that reach almost 45% of the vehicle's value. We pay absurd fuel taxes, and on top of everything, we pay the vehicle property tax. And why does the Brazilian government need to drain your wallet so much? Because we support a gigantic, bloated, inefficient, and expensive government machine. The Brazilian government spends a lot and spends it badly. To cover recurring fiscal deficits, outsized public salaries, billion-dollar congressional caucuses, and colossal electoral funds. And with a stalled state bureaucracy, the government has no other option but to create and maintain high taxes on the consumption and property of the common citizen. The high vehicle tax isn't meant to improve the road where you break your car's suspension and often get into accidents and even lose your own life. It's an easy-to-collect tax to cover the government's own budget shortfalls. It's the citizen paying the price for the mismanagement of public funds. It hurts to know that while our neighbors right next door in Paraguay and Peru, who, with all due respect, don't have a tenth of our mineral wealth, rare earth resources, productive land, and so on. But they treat cars as something that makes life easier and charge fair taxes. Brazilians are treated as an inexhaustible source of quick revenue, mules to be beaten and forced to work. But now I want to hear from you, my dear brother. How much is the vehicle tax on your car today in your state? Leave in the comments how much you paid this year and if you agree with Peru's model of paying only 3 taxes in the first 3 years and if that would be the solution for Brazilians' wallets. Don't forget to share this video. Show it to more people because if it became a nationwide consensus, if everyone started demanding this, look, copy Peru's model because you only copy what isn't good. Maybe there'd be a chance someone would come forward with this kind of proposal and maybe that person would get elected. Anyway, my brothers, we'll stop here. If you like analyses like this, unfiltered, not afraid to tell the truth, subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, consider becoming a member because that really helps the channel. May God bless each of you, my brothers, and thank you for your support. The only thing I can do to return that affection is make this video as truthful as possible. May God protect each hug, and I'm out.